It's barely 24 hours to the 2025 Joy News Impact Makers Awards. Good evening and welcome to Joy News Prime. We are coming to you live from our studios here at Kokomeme in Accra. We are live on DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 125, and around the world on myjoyonline.com. I'm Carlos Caloni.
And I am Faustina Safo. Tonight, an easy calm returns to Nkwanta South after deadly ethnic clashes claimed the life of a student and injured several others. We have details as the Ghana Education Service shut down the Nkwanta Senior High School.
Also, National Labour Commission orders striking workers of the National Identification Authority to call off strike with immediate effect.
Also tonight, Office of the Special Prosecutor wants the creation of an independent watchdog to regulate political party financing, calling for an end to the Electoral Commission's dual role as a referee and a regulator of party financing.
Also, a minority in Parliament to demand answers from Health Minister, Attorney General and Bank of Ghana Governor over University of Ghana COVID-19 scare and gay couple controversy. Remember, we are your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism.
We appreciate your company. Please stay with us.
An easy calm has been restored to the Nkwanta South in the OT region following resurgence of ethnic violence that resulted in the death of one student and left several others injured. The clashes, which erupted in the early hours of Thursday, June 26, were sparked by a libation ceremony ahead of the Yam Festival. Gunshots rang out around 2 a.m., raining long-standing tensions between rival ethnic groups. According to the Municipal Chief Executive, Joseph Entry, 2 individuals were rushed to the hospital after the violence, but sadly, one of them, a student of the Nkwanta SHS, succumbed to the injuries. Now, the situation remains volatile and efforts have been made to restore peace and stability to the area. Well, let's get on the phone and speak to the Public Affairs Officer of the OT Regional Police Command, DSP John Ncho, for more. DSP, can you tell us about the security presence in Nkwanta South as we speak?
Yes. As I'm talking, calm has been restored in Nkwanta following the recent violent incidents. Swift and decision actions have been taken to maintain law and order. A full strategic security presence has been established in Nkwanta and its immediate environs. Personnel from the Ghana Police Service, supported by the other security agencies, have been fully deployed to maintain law and order to prevent further escalation and reassure the public. More so, intensive patrols are ongoing now with checkpoints and surveillance intensified to ensure maximum security coverage and rapid response.
Can you confirm to us the number of people who may have lost their lives?
Unfortunately, one life has been lost as a result of the violence, and we extend our deepest condolences to the family affected. Investigations are ongoing, and we are working assiduously to ensure that those responsible are brought to justice and also determine the full circumstances leading to the death of the deceased.
Right, let's get some clarity. Any arrests made so far?
Yes, we've arrested 8 people as of yesterday, and they are currently assisting investigation.
So beyond the measures you talked about a while ago, what other measures are you putting in place to ensure lasting peace in the area?
In addition to the visible security presence, we are actively engaging the local leaders, the traditional authorities, the youth groups, and other stakeholders to promote tolerance, dialogue, and reconciliation. Intelligence gathering too has been intensified to prevent further outbreaks or escalation. I would like to urge everyone in Nkwanta to remain calm, avoid spreading of misinformation and report any issues or unlawful people to the security agencies. Together, we can overcome these challenges and uphold the values of unity, respect, and peace.
All right, thank you so much for speaking to us.
Well, in the last hour, the Ghana Education Service has issued a statement, which is on your screens now, just tabling some of their key concerns, and that's coming up on your screens. It reads that this message serves to provide an urgent update on the deteriorating security situation in Nkwanta, which has directly impacted Nkwanta Senior High School. Regrettably, tribal conflict resurfaced in the area on Thursday, June 26, 2025. In a distressing incident, 2 female day students of the school were shot while on their way to school. The situation further escalated today, Friday, June 27, 2025, when a male student was unfortunately hit by a stray bullet while in class. Given the immediate threat to the safety and well-being of students and staff, the Regional Directorate of the Ghana Education Service in the OT region has held extensive consultation with key stakeholders, including the school authorities, the District Director of Education, security officials, and the Regional Minister. Following these consultations, a critical decision has been taken to temporarily close down Nkwanta Senior High School until further notice. Arrangements are being made to provide police escorts for all students as they leave for their homes to ensure their safe passage. We will continue to monitor the situation, the statement goes on to say, closely, and will provide further updates as they become available. We request your guidance and support in managing this challenging situation. Let me bring in Daniel Faye. He is the Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Education Service. Apart from just going ahead to ensure that the children are safely escorted to their homes, what other measures are you putting in place to ensure their safety?
In fact, the story is a developing one. We also got the sad incident today. And so we have quickly mobilized ourselves to think through and consult with the security services how best our students, who are our most important, not only the students, but also our teachers and our staff, how best their safety and their security would be ensured and then enhanced. And so we are putting a whole lot of effort, because this seems to be a tribal conflict, and we know how sometimes tribal conflict can escalate into dimensions and directions that sometimes become very difficult to control. So yes, the school has been closed down to ensure no students will suffer such an unfortunate fate again. But aside that, for tomorrow, we are quickly mobilizing ourselves to ensure that the best of security, the best of safety measures, the best of interventions are quickly rolled out so that we don't get to witness such an awful situation again.
And how are the 2 girls faring, the girls you referred to in your statement?
Yes. Fortunately, they are, of course, in dire situation, but hopeful. Unlike the young man who unfortunately lost his life. For our 2 girls, they are surviving. We are very hopeful that they will fully recover and in no time, so that they get to reintegrate back into the classroom and the school activities.
Yeah. And how about the safety of pupils in other schools in neighboring communities? Are you considering that as well?
Indeed. Life is the utmost important thing. And so if life is threatened, if security is threatened, you cannot hold, education is a very rigorous intellectual activity that must be held in a very safe, sound, and conducive learning environment. So if the learning environment is not safe, if the security is not ensured and enhanced, you cannot have a very productive teaching and learning. So, of course, we are considering all the schools in the catchment area, that is in Kwanta, and even the constituency in Kwanta South. We are monitoring keenly what exactly is going on, and quickly we will come out with modalities on how the schools should run, whether the other schools should also close down, or if their security is okay, then they may continue with the academic activities while we monitor in Kwanta Senior High School.
Okay, we appreciate your time here on Joy News Prime.
Well, away from that, the National Labour Commission has directed the striking workers of the National Identification Authority to immediately call off their industrial action. The order was issued on June 26, 2025, after the NLC determined that a strike which was instituted by a divisional union was inconsistent with the law. The Commission has also mandated the National Union to engage with the NIA and relevant stakeholders to resolve the outstanding issues, with a follow-up meeting scheduled for July 3rd, 2025. We can give you excerpts of that particular statement, which will be on your screen shortly, and it reads, on Thursday, 26th June 2025, the parties appeared before the National Labour Commission in respect of an ongoing strike declared by the Divisional Union, National Identification Authority, NIA, Public Service Workers Union. Now, the representation at the meeting, the National Union was represented by the Deputy General Secretary of PSW, accompanied by the Divisional Chairman, NIA, and others. The respondents were represented by Deputy Director of Grievances at the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. Now, Head of Human Resource, NIA, Principal Budget Analyst, Ministry of Finance, and the Director of Labor Relations at the Ministry of Labor, Jobs and Employment. Those were the reps at the, the meeting. Now, confirmation of strike action. The Commission observed that it received a notification of strike declared by the Divisional Union NIA of PSW and asked the National Union to confirm same or otherwise. In response to the Commission's inquiry on who called the strike, the National Union confirmed that the Divisional Union called the strike. Now, the Commission said that it was wrong, and the National Union apologized for that wrong procedure. The union submitted that they have initiated the necessary steps to call off the strike. Now, the Commission disagreed with the union's assertion and ruled that it was inconsistent with the law for a local or divisional union to institute a strike action. Now, it therefore gave this directive. The Commission met the parties in caucus sessions and in joint sessions, after which it directed that, 1, the ongoing strike instituted by the Divisional Union should be called off immediately. 2, the National Union should engage the NIA, MOF, and FWSC on the payment of the 20% operational support allowance. The parties are to report to the Commission on 3rd July 2025 at 1:30 p.m.
Well, let's explore this further. Joining us on phone is NIA Divisional Chairman of the Public Service Workers Union, Francis Bamfudeme. We appreciate your time here on Joy News Prime. I also have with me the National Labour Commission Assistant Public Affairs Officer joining us shortly for this conversation as well. But I'll start with you, Mr. Francis. The NLA has given you a directive. Call off your strike immediately. Would you heed to the calls of the NLA?
All right. Good evening to you and the cherished listeners of Joy News. Of course, let me state on record that the strike was not declared by Francis Bamfudeme Nyuzaru, but the strike was declared by the working force who are members of the Public Services Workers Union of the TUC Ghana. I, on my own, have no mandate to declare a strike or lead a strike without the consent of my members. Of course, I was at TUC Labour Commission yesterday. We heard their submissions. But I have just arrived this afternoon to my destination, and I will proceed to convey a council meeting tomorrow to bring before them the submissions or the directive of the Labour Commission, and whatever the council decides, we shall proceed. What is most important to striking workers and myself herein is the fact that the concerns of the striking workers are addressed. Whether modalities procedurally we are right or wrong, you must also concede on record that the government side on record had no mandate unilaterally to have gone contrary to the provisions of collective agreement that was duly negotiated and accepted by both parties. The most refreshing news to me at this moment in time is the fact that I have received some very good, refreshing news from my management, whom I pay heed to. And by extension, I will convey that good news from my management to the council, and whatever the council deliberates and decides, so shall it be. But Francis Bankfudemi Uzal, as an individual, has no mandate to declare a strike or call off a strike.
And what is this good news? Would you like to tell us?
Of course, what we have been asking for all this while is the fact that we want a guaranteed assurance of payment. Now, the good news for management is that they have been able to conceal some levels of engagement and agreement with the Minister of Finance to the effect that they will take certain steps and ensure that the payment of our allowances are effected within a certain period of time. That I cannot put before the media right now. But that is so refreshing to us. And all we've been asking for from day one is we want assurances that what we're asking for, which is legitimate of the workers, is assured, guaranteed, and paid within agreed upon timelines. So once many have assured us that they have been able to conceal certain levels of agreement with the Minister of Finance, we are looking forward to the enforcement of those agreements in the ensuing days.
But
I do know very well that I have not received officially the Labour Commission statement, but I'm aware.
Mr. Francis, if you allow me to come in at this point.
On Thursday.
Okay. I know that you have been engaged in the NLC. The assurance you want, did they give it to you? Because their statement was specific. They don't want any negotiation. They want you to return to work immediately.
No, you see, let's be very realistic on this tangent. We cannot always put a marginalized group at the tight edge of the road at all times. Their statement was very specific. We do not intend to disrespect their statement at any time. However, if all that we want, let me be very frank here, what we want at the moment in time is that we want our grievances, our concerns addressed primarily, which is the payment of our 20% operational support allowance over a time due, and all of its arrears and other concerns.
All you want is an assurance. Did the NLC give you that assurance when you held the meeting with them?
The NLC did not give us any assurance of that. They have only directed that we should go back and engage the Minister of Finance and Employment Ministry to address those concerns.
Okay.
And like I said, we are working closely with management, and we have received some level of assurances from management.
Okay.
That is what is refreshing to us.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Francis.
The Labour Commission on itself did not give us any assurance that our demands are met or otherwise.
I appreciate your time here on Joy News Prime, Mr. Francis.
Well, away from the strike, the Office of the Special Prosecutor is pushing for a major overhaul of the current system regulating political party financing in the country. According to the Director of Strategy, Research and Communication Division at the OSP, Sami Dako, the current structure where the Electoral Commission plays the dual role of organizing elections and overseeing political party finances can amount to potential conflict of interest. The OSP wants an independent body established with the sole responsibility of overseeing the financing of political parties. There's more in the following report.
At present, the Electoral Commission is responsible for both organizing and supervising elections, as well as overseeing the financial activities of political parties. According to Sami Dako, this dual responsibility creates a problematic overlap that may hinder effective monitoring and enforcement of political finance laws. To address these concerns, the OSP is proposing the creation of an independent regulatory body that will be tasked with monitoring and regulating the financing of political parties.
We are of the opinion that the current system where the Electoral Commission is both a referee and a regulator must be abandoned. Ghana should explore the establishment of an independent political party finance audit committee, similar to that of Norway. So this committee would perform functions separately from the organization of the election, and we think that the body should consist of representatives from the Audit Service, the Office of the Special Prosecutor, and say the judiciary. And this committee can be headed by a judge.
Meanwhile, CDD Ghana is attributing the opaque nature of campaign financing to a number of factors, including the no definitive period for campaigning, the abuse of incumbency, and the absence of election campaign financing regulation to monitor the source of campaign funds.
Also very concerned about money that's coming from illicit sources. The CDD study put that in context. Vote by now is done in open. There's a law against it. And of course, a big one, unregulated financing of candidates. As you see, our current legal framework does not capture candidates.
Deputy Electoral Commissioner Dr. Bosman Asare called for transparency in the financing of political campaigns.
What we are basically saying is that transparency and accountability are very, very central in a democracy. If we want to make progress as a country in our democracy, transparency is very, very important, just as accountability. They are equally important in the operations of political parties. That's why even our constitution stresses that the internal structures of political parties must reflect democratic practices, and this is very, very central.
CDD Ghana says it will publish its findings on the amount of monies spent on political campaigns in the 2024 elections soon.
Member of Parliament for Old Trafford, Vincent Echoa, who formally petitioned President John Dramani Mahama over the viral video of a gay couple public display of affection at the Black Star Square, says he is considering his next steps. The MP had urged the president to publicly denounce the act and reaffirm Ghana's values. Now he's weighing his options on how to further address the issue. He spoke to Sweetie Abochi on Joe News Today.
I think that His Excellency the President is passionate about this country, as I am. And so the petition was sent yesterday early in the morning. And so I am hoping that based on his words and his commitment as far as His Excellency the President is concerned, I hope that I will hear from him very, very soon. I do not need to hear from him by way of a letter to me or whatsoever. I only want to hear him condemn the situation. Per Article 88 of the 1992 Constitution, it is the duty of the Attorney General to be able to prosecute people who are seen to have done anything that affects the state in terms of criminality. And so, I mean, if he refuses to do so, we will take it as if he's forgotten about it or he has a lot of things to deal with. We will remind the AG by way of a letter or petition to make sure that these people are dealt with. You check my stance on LGBTQ when we were in government. Even at the time that I appeared before the vetting committee as a deputy minister designate, I had my strong stance on it, that it cannot be allowed to fester in this our country. However, at the time, remember, it was not topical as we are finding it at the latter part of the NPP's government and even now. But it's becoming very clear that it is something that we have to deal with.
Well, the Communications Minister in Ningo Prom MP, Samuel Nate George, who is a key advocate for the proper human sexual right and Ghanaian family value bills, has also responded. And we have that on your screen. And it reads, I've just returned to Accra from Ho in the Volta region, where I attended the climax of our successful hashtag Girls in ICT program. I have seen numerous tags and posts about the abhorrent disrespect of our culture and values by two quote and unquote useless individuals. The disrespect of our national symbols is despicable, to say the least. However, I am shocked to see apologists of the NPP calling on me and demanding action. What a shameless lot. We are here, we are today without a strict legislation on these ills because the former President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo failed and blatantly refused to sign the Family Values Bill into law after Parliament of Ghana and the court had cleared the bill. You defended the immoral stance of President Akufo-Addo then, and today you want to pontificate? How dare you? I have, along with my colleagues in Parliament, resubmitted the Family Values Bill. It has gotten Mr. Speaker's approval and should be laid for the first reading any moment soon. Now, the values, morals, and innocence of our children must be protected. I would demand that President John Dramani Mahama sign the bill when we get it passed again. My position has not changed, but I despise hypocrite. Law enforcement must identify the two miscreants in the viral photos and apply the full rigors of existing laws on them. Meanwhile, the minority in Parliament is calling for the Health Minister, Attorney General and Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Johnson Esiama to appear before the House to address pressing issues. These include the recent COVID-19 scare at the University of Ghana and the public's outrage over a viral video showing a gay couple's activities at the Black Star Square. The minority want these officials to provide explanations and answer questions on these matters, holding them accountable for their actions and policies. My colleague James Aveji has more in the following report.
After a long protest against Speaker's ruling not to allow any further debate on the business statement for next week, leadership of the House finally agreed to allow members to offer comments and suggestions on issues of concern, which may be included in the following week's business of the House. The minority raised concerns ranging the gay couple saga, the University of Ghana COVID-19 scare, and the PURC's electricity tariff increase, calling for the various ministers to be held to address the matters.
A limited incidence of COVID-19. The University of Ghana have had a course to put out an official release. We don't want to dread what the country went through sometime. We should make an arrangement and get the minister, the sector minister, Honorable Akando, to come and do the needful. The minister, we want the PRC executive secretary to be here at the committee of the whole. And then you also left out the BOG. I don't know if it is, I know it is inadvertent. So the BOG boss should also come to the committee of the whole. That's important.
Mr. Speaker, you could see from our colleagues, when I raised issue about LBGT, now they are going to sleep. Are you in support of LBGT? Is it the case that the government now is supporting LBGT? Or is it the case that you are now supporting it? Because I am raising a serious matter that 3 days ago, two men were kissing at the Independence Square. There are videos and pictures to that effect. And you are pretending as if you haven't seen it.
Against this LGBT thing, when are you going to, Minister for Gender, when are you going to bring that bill? The anti-LGBT bill that you spoke so much about. You said you were going to deal with it. Honorable Minister, today you are bringing the social protection.
Honorable
bill.
Minority Leader.
When are you going to bring that bill to?
Honorable Minority Leader, that is why you are not in charge of government business.
The minority whip, Frank Anodonpre, also reiterated the call for government to bring the Damang mining lease agreement to Parliament for ratification.
3 weeks now, we still don't have the Goldfields Daman mining lease agreement being brought. What is the reason? Why? I don't understand. This is a constitutional call. Why is the executive turning a blind eye? What is there? What is in that particular agreement that they cannot bring it for us to assess? What is there?
Here is the majority leader, Mahama Yarige's response.
PURC and the tariff adjustments. You call on us to invite PURC, but I think that it is the Energy Minister and Green Transition that we should be invited to come and brief the House. We labor to pass a legislation on the matter, and the former president refused to sign it. He refused to sign it. He refused to sign it. He refused to sign it. And I'm surprised that my colleagues on this side, at that time, we didn't hear their voices on the refusal of the president to sign it. We did not hear their voices. Suddenly they have found their voices and want to pretend that they are the chief advocates of LGBTQ, anti-LGBTQ matters in this country. When it mattered most to fight the menace, where were you? When it mattered most, when you had the numbers and you were the majority and you were the ruling government, where were you?
A number of the sector ministers will appear before Parliament next week to provide some answers on Parliament House in Accra. I am James Abeji for Joy News.
We're taking a break here on Joy News Prime. Once we return, Minerals Development Fund moves to safe at Tantam DA Basic School, sandwiched by illegal mining activities, which is posing a threat to the lives of learners.
Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us here on Joy News Prime. Now to some other stories. A task force of the Minerals Development Fund has cracked down on some illegal mining sites around Atetemu Basic School in the Ashanti region. 12 excavators and other pumping machines were seized in the process, with 3 suspects, including a teenager, arrested. Apart from the dangers posed by the activity on the lives of learners, noise from the site makes teaching and learning difficult. Nanaya Ojima joins us with details of this particular story. Nanaya, tell us about these 12 excavators. Were these machines seized from just one mining site, or how many mining sites?
To give you the number of mining sites that are located within the area, but it's a vast area of land that has been destroyed by these illegal miners. I can say about 2 times of the community itself have been destroyed, and the areas that have been destroyed include cocoa farms and other plantations within the area. So these are different owners of concessions mining the area illegally, and just close to this school that we are talking about, some of these illegal activities are happening within the vicinity. So the school is actually sandwiched by these illegal miners. Subsequently, aside from the 3 Ghanaians that were picked earlier, investigations led to the arrest of 4 Chinese and another local within the area. These Chinese had gone into their hideout after noticing the presence of the task force in the area, and when they were arrested, some arms and ammunition were found on these people. So presently, some of the excavators have been successfully moved to the regional police command at the Pai in the Ashanti region, and now they've been put in the hands of the police, who will who from now will secure these excavators as the police continue with investigations of the people who are...
And we believe you're going to be keeping your eyes on that particular development and give us an update in our subsequent bulletins.
Well, away from the Ashanti region, let's head now to the Central region, where the regional minister has ordered the Cape Coast Metropolitan Assembly to urgently demolish weak and dangerous buildings across the city. This follows the third building collapse in Cape Coast within a week. Abigail Esel reports.
The Central Regional Minister, Honorable Echoa, on Friday visited the sites in Cape Coast where buildings have collapsed and resulted in 3 deaths. In an engagement with the media, the minister indicated that this is a period for strict actions to prevent further casualties.
So we've ordered that the remaining buildings should be brought down as early as possible so we can have arrangement with the family to see how best we can assist. In the meantime, we have asked that they move them to the building down there. I think that's the unlawful market in the meantime, so they can be there for a while we arrange with the family to see how best we can come to their assistance. So it's unfortunate, and I think that I'll agree with you, Chief Executive, that is the time you need to identify all these, structures that are weak. Let's have a negotiation with the families and support them to bring them down.
Paying a courtesy call to the Ogwamahin, the minister also appealed to the traditional authorities to desist from interfering in the demolition process. The Cape Coast MC, George Justice Arthur, assured that he will do his bit to protect the people of Cape Coast and their properties.
My responsibility as a mayor of Cape Coast is to ensure that we sanitize the system, we protect lives and property of our people within the metropolis. So count it from me. As an action man, we will make sure we take the necessary action to bring sanity into the system. So far, we have demolished about 10 buildings, and we are embarking on 2 major exercises. One is restoration, and one is demolition. And there are some other structures that have historical underpinning. So that one, we will make sure we, collaborate with the relevant agencies together with the members of parliament to see to their restoration. And we will make sure we restore them.
From Cape Coast, Abigail Nkrumah reports for Joy News.
Away from that, the Veterinary Services Directorate is urging the public to be more cautious about where and how they purchase their food. As part of activities to mark World Food Safety Awareness Day, the Directorate held a public float to raise awareness about the dangers of unsafe food handling and the importance of vigilance in what we eat. And Darcy has more in the following report read to you.
Meet this man in his early 30s. He's been selling poultry in Osu for years. It's through this business that he feeds his family. But with rising costs and dwindling sales, he admits to doing what many may find unthinkable.
Sometimes, if I know that they are sick, I'll address them and then put it inside freezer. That one, I'll send it to market.
Many of the sick birds end up in the hands of unsuspecting kebab vendors and ultimately in the meals of ordinary Ghanaians.
They should not eat or take any dead or sick animals. We also wanted to tell those who are the various actors, the farmers, to make sure that when they have sick birds or sick animals, they report to the nearest veterinary center for intervention. And currently, our country have also once in a while been facing issues of bird flu. Bird flu is zoonotic. So far, we have not recorded a death case or we have not recorded an issue from bird flu in the country. But once it's zoonotic, we need to take steps to make sure that people are eating from good source. So as consumers, you should be careful where you're buying your meat from.
As part of of activities to mark World Food Safety Awareness Day, the Veterinary Services Directorate of Ghana organized a food safety awareness float. The initiative aimed to educate the public, especially food vendors and consumers, on the critical importance of food safety practices. Michaela Amawenkam is the lab technologist at the Vet Services Directorate.
There are 5 keys to safer food. The first is to keep clean. Keep your hands clean by hand washing with soap and running water. The second is to thoroughly cook your food. Make sure you're cooking your food thoroughly so that the germs end up being killed before you consume it. The third is to separate raw food from uncooked food, or separate raw food from cooked food. And then the fourth is to make sure you're keeping food at the right temperature. The fifth is to make sure that you're using clean water and safe raw materials to cook.
Some individuals also shared their thoughts on where they get their food and how they ensure it's safe to eat.
I'm a typhoid patient, so anytime I want to buy, I check the place. And if I buy then I get some reaction, I will not go there and buy again.
I can't go and buy food outside, and I don't know that maybe those flies and those things, no. And maybe there is a rush and those things. Like, I can't buy food just like God time, no. I need to buy a safety place. Yeah, that place is a clean place for me. And so of sickness, that's why, yeah.
As the pressure to survive grows, so does the temptation to cut corners. But experts warn one sick bird, one unsafe choice, could be the beginning of a breakout. And Dase's report read to you.
You're still watching Joy News Prime with us here. We'll take a short break. We'll return with Showbiz. Please stay. Well, the Friday edition of Showbiz, and Becky Bex is here.
Bono será, Carlos.
Bono será, Becky.
¿Cómo está?
Oui. Oui.
Tuto bene?
I don't understand that one.
Okay, you know what's happening right now?
No.
Fentio.
Oh, okay.
Taught me a little bit of no, it's Italian.
Italian, okay.
Yeah, so I decided to throw it.
Oh.
I was just saying.
I thought you were speaking Spanish instead.
Yeah, it sounds like Spanish, but it's not Spanish.
Oh, okay.
That's actually Italiano.
Oh, nice.
Say
nice.
Italiano. Bueno será, Carlos. You can say bene.
Bene, like Beni.
I think that I'm lying to you. But good evening to you. Good evening to everybody out there. This evening, let's talk about gospel musician Diana Hamilton. She has revealed she doesn't consider herself a professional artist despite her success, explaining that nursing remains a core part of her life. In an upcoming episode of The Career Trail, airing Saturday, June 28 on Joy Learning TV and Joy News, Diana shares how music has always been a calling and opportunity rather than a full-time career.
Did you decide to pursue music professionally?
I never did. I never said, Diana, we're doing it professionally. That's why I struggle to say I'm doing music professionally, because I'm not.
Okay.
That's why I would always go back to nursing. And I'll tell you why. I never said, right, this is the time. Anywhere I saw the microphone and I was given the chance, I'll pick it. And so I remember in church at 13, I took the microphone to sing because it was my birthday. And my teacher had taught me a song and I sang it. But even prior to that, whenever they gave me a long list.
Of my heart, be acceptable to you. Say praise the Lord. Yahweh, why you hearing something?
You are in the spirit.
In the spirit.
Yeah.
Just
I can see that.
So just, be on the lookout for that episode. We're on Career Trail, on Joy News and Joy Prime TV as well. But tomorrow, E-Vibes, the musical band series, is hosting the Big Shots band. The Big Shots GH band. They will be the ones taking the seat to talk about their career and everything in between. Let me tell you a little bit about the band, because it was originally formed, Carlos, in 2008 and came its present lineup 5 years ago. One of the core objectives of the band is to research into Guinean folk songs, nursery rhymes, children rhythmic games, and rearrange them so to bring them to international repute. The band revived the high life and Afro jazz feel in Ghana's popular music by creatively drawing on an immense musical tradition of high life greats, Ghana's and West Africa's high life and Afrobeat music. They do this with an elaborate approach to musical techniques, playfulness, arranging sounds and performance. In more than 5 years live playing in Ghana, the band has started to contribute to their own style to contemporary African popular music and world music. So you should look out for the Big Shots GH on Joy News and also on Joy Prime. But let me also tell you something else I should look out for this weekend at the LWAC Stadium. All is set for the 2025 edition of Joe Metal's annual gospel music event, dubbed Praise Reloaded. It's scheduled for, obviously, Sunday, June 29 at the LWAC Sports Stadium in Accra. Gates will be open at 1 p.m., Carlos, with the event beginning promptly at 3 p.m. Admission is actually free, but there's a but to it. You're urged to register at www.joemetalmusic.com to secure your seats. So, Carlos, would you be attending that?
We'll try.
You're not sure?
I'm not too sure.
I mean, if you're not sure, it's fine.
Yeah.
You have other places.
Of course. I have other meetings also.
Oh, you have other meetings.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so
we won't tell the viewers. But, I mean, Carlos, before we go, a source tells ET Entertainment tonight details surrounding Katy Perry and Orlando Bloom's split, including, I know that you didn't know that they are no more together, but including how stresses in their relationships ultimately resulted in them calling it quits. The pair is now prioritizing co-parenting their 4-year-old. That will be all for Showbiz this evening. Hopefully we'll come back next week.
Monday.
To, do this all over again. We appreciate your time. But please log on to myjoyonline.com. It vibes right there to host Big Shots at GH Band this weekend. President Mahama appoints Bridget O2 as presidential staffer. There's a lot more on that page when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Also, tomorrow you can join Samson on
Newsfile. A lot more will be on Newsfile tomorrow. Well, that's all we have time for. Thank you so much for watching. Prime Business is up next.